What is up, guys, and welcome to ASL Week 13 Power Rankings. This is the last week of the season, so let's make it a good one. I am once again joined with Milan.
Hey, friends and family members of the ASL, welcome to the last week of the Power Rankings. And you know what? We are excited as fuck, even though it's like the thousandth time we are trying to record this because fine,
Sure.
let's rank let's rank right in. No, wait. Before we rank right in, I want to give a shout out to all the troopers who committed an entire season once again to the fantastic ASL. And also a big shout out to the coaches who could replace the coaches who couldn't commit an entire season to ASL. So yeah, you're all yes. So at number 14, we have the Philadelphia Flygons. Not too surprising, I know, but yeah, Ferret. Once again, he didn't came out on top with a victory this week. No shade at all to Ferret. I think Ferret is fantastic. Definitely deserved. ASL member and a coach and in the community. He stepped up his game quite a lot from the training center. But yeah, here in ASL, you're competing with the top dogs. And yeah, it is quite a difference in level. I know also big expectations from you. Why do you have number 14, Ian?
Well, yeah, like you said, it just didn't the season. That obviously, he did a lot better in the training center, but he has definitely improved since then as well. It's just that once again, when you're facing this top level competition, it's going to be really difficult to succeed, especially when you're not using a team you're very familiar with. 1-12 record means that I don't really expect you to perform super well in the consolation bracket. We'll have to see how it goes, obviously. If you can pull out all the stops and maybe get some improvement in, that'd be great, but it's just not looking super likely. It's just not a good season to have, unfortunately, but I'm sure you'll be able to bounce back for next season. Number 13, we have the other training centre coach, Brett, who also had a fairly disappointing season, bit better at a 3-10 record, but that is the next lowest one. He didn't get to draft his own team, which obviously makes it a bit more difficult, but it was still a solid team. Maybe next season when he does get to draft his own team, he'll get a better shot at it, maybe put up a slightly better record. But yeah, as it stands right now, I don't expect great things going into the consolation bracket, but do prove me wrong by all means.
Yeah, I also have him at number 13 pretty much for very similar reasons. Definitely a good guy and a good coach for sure. I think his strength definitely comes from the prep. However, he also makes a lot of stupid fucking mistakes, Brett. And Brett told me I can flame him, so it's okay. Don't worry. But this man, he literally could have won the game. He fought versus TCP this week, and TCP, as we all know, is the team right now. He only has one loss. He lost last week, so he is in a bad momentum swing right now. And Brad was legitimately having a good time versus TCP. He had the Scarf Galvantula, but he just forgot to put EVs on it. So that's a big dum-dum on Brad's. I'm not saying he would have won the game if he had the Scarf, but he had a lot better shot because he basically threw away a Galvantula to Darmanitan. So yeah, well, I think you are a fantastic dude, and next season you'll draft your own team, which definitely fits your style better. So that will be something to look forward to. And for now, just good luck in the consolation match. I have the PC Barcelona and Shadow. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know what to say about Shadow because Shadow is like he is so unpredictable that he himself doesn't even know what's going to happen to him or what he's going to do in the game. It seems to me. Season Shadow is always strong. That was definitely good to see. We ranked his team pretty low, and then he turned up. So we were all like, "Okay, Shadow, okay, you're doing well." And then later on in the season, about the halfway mark, he started to lose, and yeah, basically from there he caught a massive loss streak. I think he's on about the same losing streak as AZ was at some point in the league, and this week was no different. A 6-0 blowout loss was just sad to see. Like, I know you fought Cody. Cody is a very dominant coach, so I can't really fault you too much for it. But yeah, 6-0 is pretty bad. Hey, next season you'll just draft something you like a lot better, more once again, and just try to be consistent. Try to be more consistent. Oh, at number 12, you have the London Loudreds. Please explain to us why.
Yeah, they definitely got an impressive win. You're echoing, by the way. If you could just fix that real quick, please. Um,
Why? Oh,
yeah, just echoing my voice out. Unfortunately, nice professionalism, nice professionalism. But yeah, like I was saying, Thunderflight got a very solid win at the end there. But outside of that, he hasn't had all that many wins. He was a late addition, so he didn't really get a chance to prove himself. And maybe he can take this momentum that he's gotten into the consolation bracket. But one win all season, if I'm not mistaken, isn't great. Even though you only played like 5 games or something, it's not a great ratio still. And I just feel like he didn't really accomplish enough this season to really get placed much higher. Shadow, on the other hand, got similarly high quality wins as well, but had more overall. And like I said at the start of it, when he was on that roll, I didn't want to. But I called the fact that he was going to bust you out again after getting 4 wins. That's just his style. He can't keep up the consistency. And it ended up showing. Hopefully, though, he can pull out a good run in the consolation bracket. If I recall correctly, he did pretty well last season's consolation bracket, so I think he does have a fairly solid chance this time around if he can take it a bit seriously and pull out what he was doing early season in preparation for next season, perhaps. We'll just have to see, but yeah, definitely disappointing finish to go on a 6-game losing streak.
yeah. As for the London Loudreds, they like Thunderflight is like one of those coaches that is very creative with his sets. He likes to dive more into the depth of the move pools of each mon, which is very respectable. I like to do that myself as well. But sometimes he just too deep, I think, and he comes up with really wacky and weird sets. However, this week he did defeat a play of contending coach, being EN, and it was actually mostly due catching EN off guard with some sets and some weird EV spreads that actually gave him a very good shot and actually ended up giving him the win over EN. So that was good to see. Next season, I hope to see a lot of memes from you. Not really, not memes, but a lot of creativity, because I do think a lot of coaches can definitely use that creativity, and maybe you inspire them to be more creative with sets. And yeah, that's what I am. Number 10, I have the Slow Bohemians with TJ. And TJ, the Kingslayer, last week fought versus the number one in the rankings versus TCP, and he was actually managed to defeat him. This week he fought versus me, and I feared for my life because I was like, "Holy shit, we are fighting last season champion. He beaten the season champion prior to that, and he ended TCP's win streak. So was pretty hyped up match for me. But in the end, I managed to come up on top versus TJ, and yeah, TJ definitely brought some interesting sets. He brought a max HP Gallade with Adamant Nature with very little speed, to be honest, which was interesting. To me, it was interesting. EVs definitely came in clutch in the game. He also brought Scarf Suicune, which was pretty cool, actually. I really liked that one. And yeah, Z-Hill Kyurem was also a very cool set on his part. But at the end,
All right.
at the end,
Yes. Okay. Australian internet is the thing that isn't very good, as we continue to learn every day. But yes, TJ, he definitely is well known for having the wacky prep, which seems to be a common theme from a lot of the teams that ended up being placed lower down here, which is interesting to think about. But yeah, TJ definitely didn't have the season he wanted to. We've said that every week. He's just get that win on TCP, which did kind of rejuvenate his spirits a little bit to bring some closer games at the end of the season. It really wasn't enough to instill a lot of confidence into his performance. I do think he will do decently in the consolation bracket, potentially win it. But he does have a lot of competition ahead of him. The consolation bracket is looking incredibly stacked with these top 4 coaches here. So yeah, I just think that he's probably got the least chance out of these 4 to win it, but we will have to see. Overall, definitely disappointing season, and I'm sure he'll love to pick it up next season with a better draft and better performance. It just didn't end up happening this time. But at number 9, I have Vish, which I don't think this isn't reflective of how I think their performance was in the season. I should probably just mention that now. A lot of this is being weighed into how well I think they will perform in the consolation bracket. And as it stands, I don't think Vish is going to do quite as well as the 2 coaches I place above him. He's going into the thing pretty demoralized after his loss to Dave, just barely missing out on playoffs there because of it. And because these other 2 coaches are just so phenomenally good, I think that if he isn't bringing his all, he is going to lose to them. So it will largely depend on his motivation levels heading into it, I feel personally. But yeah, definitely a really solid season overall. Bounced back from the depths of hell with a 2-5 record into a 7-6 record or something along those lines. So really solid season overall. I would have you at 7 if I was basing it just on for season strength, but that's not how I've decided to do these rankings.
Right. At number 9, I do have Cody with the London Lepres. I did do my rankings just basically based on the result of last week and the results overall with the win. So I can't put Cody any higher, even though he performed excellent this week. He got a 6-0, basically the best victory you can get over Shadow. Cody this week once again was very impressive. I think he 6-0 Shadow with only using 3 Pokemon, if I recall correctly. Snorlax was just Undying Titan, and also the Landorus was very good in the end to clean up. Can't really say too much about it, other than that it was just sad to see such a great coach missing out on playoffs, but it's not his fault. He just took over a very poor team, which looked very poor for the season. But yeah, he definitely showed his capability as a coach, and I think he will do very well in the consolation bracket. And number 8, another coach who I am also very sad to see miss out on playoffs, St. Louis Samurott with Anderson. I think Brad is also one of the coaches who has been very consistent this season, even though he didn't play an entire season, but the games he did play were all very dominant. I think he has a phenomenal team as well, so he might win hardest team to prep for because it's such a cool team, and he took over the strongest ranked team prior season, so definitely something I can see happening. Overall this week he fought versus Hutch. He did lose, which was unfortunate enough to see, but yeah, out on playoffs, and I think for the last week he just brought a quick prep team like he always does, and just he's fighting the one and only RNG God Hodge. So bad luck happens, but yeah, Anderson overall great coach, and I think he will do very well in the consolation bracket. At number 8, you have Cody with London Lepers. Please explain, Ian.
Yeah, once again, Cody was not here for the entire season, and his performance really hasn't been necessarily exemplary or anything. But he really did turn it up in the last couple of weeks when he did get to take over the draft. I think he's 2-2, but the 2 games that he did win were absolutely phenomenal. And just his skill getting back into the game, getting more comfortable with his draft, I think is going to really show up super well in the consolation bracket. I think he's going to be one of the 2 favorites to win the whole thing. Obviously, a lot of competition around here as well, so it's going to be tough to judge. But I do think Cody is amongst the most skilled of these people, having a phenomenal half season last season as well. Many people thought he was going to win that season if he didn't drop out. But yeah, that's just kind of my thought process there. I think he's definitely going to do really well. But someone that I think might do a little bit better is Brad at number 7. He had a phenomenal run this time, only losing to myself and Hutch. Taking a 2 and 5 team into a 6 and 7 team is no easy task. Vish also did do that, but Brad. Brad's the commissioner of the league, and he's been playing for a long time, and it really shows in his overall consistency in the game. Just really solid at the game, really solid thought process. Always knows how to win, and I think that's really going to come through. I know that Brad will be the type of person who can clutch it out for sure. I'm not sure if he's going to take the consolation bracket as seriously as the others, but if he does, I think he will win it all in the end, just because of how solid his draft is as well. So that's why I have him down here.
At number 7, I do have the Winters Weavile. And Hjalmar just came as close as you can possibly get to making playoffs, but he unfortunately just missed out, losing this week to Dave. This week, Hjalmar brought a very offensive Trick Room team, which could have definitely do work versus Dave. And I think in the end, he did misplay his end game a little bit. I think the Rhydon would have done a lot of work under Trick Room. But yeah, overall, the team of Dave with just all these powerhouses, just too hard on Fish's draft. And even though it was an offensive team, it was just hard to play around all these offensive monsters of Dave. And I think, yeah, Dave just clutched it out with his circuitry. Hjalmar not it's as well as he could have or should have done. And that's unfortunately going to end the win streak of the Winters Weevils, not securing them a spot of playoffs, which is super unfortunate for me. I would definitely have loved to have him in there for our potential Jalen semifinals or finals, but hey, who knows? Next season, the dream is still alive. Onto the playoff contending coaches. So these coaches are all for sure locked into the damn playoffs. They are all fighting to win it all. And at number 6, I do have the Aussie Kangaskhan's because realistically, he is the only coach out of all the playoff coaches who lost his last week game. That's just bad momentum. I think personally, Ian is still a great coach and can do very. Don't want to lose that last game. I think the last game he also played pretty brain dead. No offense, Ian, but yeah, we all saw that you made some interesting plays. I don't have to actually name them because you know them yourself, what the plays I'm talking about. But yeah, I think also the wacky sets of Thunderflight are a little bit. But yeah, overall, good luck in playoffs, but 6th spot is where you'll be.
Yeah,
you have them alone on that.
Yeah, I'm going to
Please
be,
explain.
once again, like I said earlier, I'm going to be judging these very heavily based off of how well I think they will succeed in playoffs. And for Malone, it's just we haven't seen much of any playoff experience for him. This is his first time making it. He's had an amazing run so far. But I just don't know if he'll be able to take the pressure, all this pressure on him to succeed in playoffs after having such a great run. And because he is pretty young, I'm not sure how well he'll be able to take that on. And just, like I said before, the lack of data. I would have him at number 5 once again if I was ranking it based off of their season performance. But that's not how I'm judging it. That's why I do have him down here. I have myself at number 5. I'm going to talk about myself in the third person just because I think it's easier. It was pretty clear from the last 3 weeks that the motivation was not there for this coach to succeed. Didn't look like they cared much at all anymore. The fire seemed to have died down for who knows why. And yeah, it just really showed in their prep and their play. They really shut their brain off from the looks of things, made a lot of really stupid plays just without putting much of any thought into it, and didn't really seem to have much of a game plan going into them. So reason why I have them at number 5 is that if they can't turn that motivation around and find a reason to care about the game that they're in the playoff race, so yeah, they definitely need to find that fire again if they want to have any shot at succeeding. But you can go ahead and explain why you've got Malone at number 5.
Yes, at number 5, I do have Super Malone with the St. Louis Swallows. And you know what, Malone? He is running with the biggest win streak right now. So that's very impressive, the first thing. Second thing is playoffs. This man actually did it. He is in playoffs. So congratulations, Malone. Very proud of you. You made playoffs. Very well done. Then also this week he fought versus Ferret, and yeah, we all know Ferret hasn't been doing the greatest this season. But I mean that doesn't take away anything from this great victory you had. You had a nice 4-0 victory, and in the end, I think you definitely showed why Thunderous Therian is your MVP and probably the MVP of the entire season. Not gonna lie, this Pokemon on its own took like I think at least 3/4 of the entire kills of the St. Louis Swallows. This Pokemon went ham. It went insane. And yeah, this week was no different. Thunderous Therian was doing great for you, and I'm very happy to see you in playoffs. Good luck versus Dave the first round. But yeah, overall, it will be tough for you. It will be tough because it's only your first time playoffs. But hey, anything can happen. And if you just keep on the big win streak you have right now and bring all that momentum that you have, you definitely have a good shot. Definitely.
Before you move on, I just want to say that I have extra vested interest in Malone losing because he did manage to take over the all-time kill record with 28 and 6 kills. Kartana previously resided at 27 and 3. So yeah, that might have played a little bit teensy bit of bias into where I decided to place him.
Good shit, Malone. Good shit. At number 4, we have the Chicago Conquerors. No, I have the Chicago Conquerors with Big Daddy Dave. And you know what? Dave has been on this very quiet little win streak. I think once the half season mark passed, he lost a little bit, made some transactions, and he basically went out of sight of the top rankings because he wasn't fighting for the second spot anymore, or so it seemed. But Dave has quietly become a little bit of a win streak threat, and I think Dave is definitely that guy to turn up into the playoffs. Like he has been very quiet on the in the later end of the season. But I think in playoffs we will definitely see great things from Big Daddy Dave. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Overall, congratulations, Dave. You did very well this season. Overall, I mean, no big surprise. You do have the Zygarde 50% and the Infernape, who have been historically, I think, the best Pokemon in the ASL, record-wise or kill-wise. So, not surprised they did so well for you this season. But yeah, good shit on you. At number 3, you actually have the Chicago Conquerors.
Well, we skipped 4.
Right now.
You skipped Hutch for me. I
bad.
have at number 4, which is the word and the number that Milan had just said. I do indeed have Hutch, which is the coach he just said. Hutch was able to pick up a very nice win over Brad, but we've been seeing in the most recent weeks, very similarly, kind of a bad mentality coming from him. Lack of motivation in general has occurred. And I'm just not sure how well that's going to translate into playoffs, whether that lack of motivation is going to carry through to Pokemon, and whether we will see a lackluster performance coming out from him. He also does have what would be considered the historically tougher matchup for him than Dave would have, which will play into it a little bit. I imagine he's going to be a little bit worried about this game coming in, and especially having to fight Milan afterwards if he does win. Definitely something that he's got to be concerned about. Naturally, he does have some great playoff experience making finals twice before in this league, but yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. But at number 3, I do have Dave, who is the new boy on the block to this league, but a very seasoned vet in the league format in general, playing in a lot of high-profile leagues, having a lot of playoff experiences. So I think that he will be no stranger to this level of competition coming in. I think he'll be able to keep his composure, bring all the things that he needs to do to win the games. And even though he doesn't have a great record against the opponents that he has to play, losing against both Malone and TCP, which is the opponent that he will have to play afterwards, he played them before making the transactions, and I think these transactions are really going to help his matchups against them, and I think he has the skill to adapt to those players, so I think that Dave is going to be one of the favorites to make finals.
I can definitely see that. I think Dave is definitely a big threat. He's also Big Daddy. So at number 3, I do have Hutch with the Portland Timbers. No big surprise. Hutch has been doing very well this season. I think he is at an 8-4 record, if I call correctly. 8-4, something like that.
9-4.
But yeah. Anyway, he's just been doing very well, taking over a win versus Anderson, who is a coach I definitely anticipated not to lose anytime soon. So that's very impressive on its own. Yeah, the match itself was very offensive. I think Mons dropping like flies, bang, bang, bang. But yeah, Hutch, I think he has probably the hardest go to the playoffs, so to the finals. I should say, but that doesn't mean
Hello?
wait and see. So yeah, much good luck the upcoming matchup. We have the Jersey Just, aka me. I think we both put me and TCP at 1 and 2 because we have the round buys. I finished second overall in the season. Had a little bit of starting issues in the early season, but yeah, in the end, I definitely clutched it out quite a bit. This last week's battle as well versus TJ. TJ caught me off guard with a couple of weird EVs and sets overall. But yeah, I preserved my win con very well, and it did exactly what I needed it to do. And it gave me a solid victory over TJ. Definitely was shaky for me. I definitely feared for my life playing Kings player TJ, last season champion. But yeah, overall, pretty content with how my season went. And I do think I have a good shot potentially, but yeah, I'll just have to wait and see. Why do you have me at number 2, Ian?
Basically, like you said, the buy is all important, and I think the other big thing is that you are probably the coach, at least from my perspective, who wants it the most right now. Um, After coming back from season 2, after being admittedly very salty about the results from his semi-finals game, I just imagine that you're going to be putting in all the time that you need to ensure that you win your games. So yeah, that's going to be the main reason why I do have you at number 2. But you do arguably have the harder side of the bracket to have to deal with, which is expected from having the second seed. Which is why I do have you a bit below TCP, who I have at number 1, obviously, who went 12-1. TCP has been slipping a little bit in the past few weeks. Not slipping enough to lose that many games, obviously, only losing to TJ, but slipping enough for us top players to notice some flaws that could be exploited potentially if we match up against him. So it is kind of a little bit questionable going into it. I've got to remember that bye teams historically have not performed super well, and that I, having the same record as him, did lose in semis. Got to be worried as to whether he can pick up the slack that he has left off in those past few games. Have those holes in his games if he wants to succeed in this league. Obviously the holes weren't major or anything, but when playing the actual top coaches, it's a lot more likely that they're going to get picked up on. So obviously I think he's going to do great in playoffs. He has shown quite a bit of consistency there. But I am just saying that there are those holes that you do need to patch up for your games.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. On the other hand, though, TCP clinched playoffs very early. He clinched his week round bye very early, so it is not too weird to once he clinched that he just didn't invest that much time anymore because he was already clinched. He didn't really have anything to lose. Yes, he lost his flawless streak, but I think there are bigger things to worry about. Also, TCP is a very experienced coach when it comes to playoffs. He is a champion of season 4, if I call correctly. So definitely, no stranger there. And you can also just see it as TCP just luring us in all a sense of false sense of security that he's been slacking, but for real, he's just saving up his heat. He's been cooking for days, and he is definitely ready in playoffs. We just have to wait and see. Very consistent coach throughout the season, and yeah, well deserved coach of the season in my eyes. But that's just think. But yeah, that's what power ranking is all about, right? What me or you think. It's our show. Fuck it. So
Exactly.
I think that wraps it up. Last season video of last week's video, the power rankings. I definitely enjoyed ranking with you, Ian. I definitely liked bringing you guys weekly content of how we should rank the coaches throughout the season 6 of ASL. Thank you for supporting us. Ian, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'll see you guys next season. Should be a good one. Make sure to subscribe
Yes, come
to.
Jersey Justice. Woo!
Yes. All right, sure, why not? See you guys next time. Bye.